Hello everyone, welcome to week 4. We're going to be talking about spaces and relationships this week. I am looking at your week 3 work, so I will have all of that back to you by Friday. I have already graded your discussion boards on Matisse, some really good answers there, well thought out. I hope you enjoyed that documentary and looking through the web page I sent you. It was interesting. A lot of you had some different ideas about, what period you thought Matisse's was most radical. Some thought his Neo-Cubism, some his Fauvism, others his later work. But you all seem to have this overall idea that what you gained from this was that sometimes it is better to simplify and give less detail to communicate a really powerful, strong message. And that's not always going to be the case. I just want you to recognize that's one way, one avenue of working. And as you start to develop your own style, you can choose to go that direction. Now, of course, we're going to be learning a lot of techniques here that are more classical and, just getting all those details in. But I think it's important to know how to do all that detail and proper proportions correctly so that then we know how to abstract from it, okay? So thank you for those, and again, be looking for your other work to be done and graded and back to you by Friday. So this week, we have in your reading chapters 7 and 8, so perceiving spaces and relationships. And I think this is the relationships part is going to help you when we do more self-portraits, more hands, those more organic drawings. And the perceiving spaces is what we're going to really be focusing on this week when we're doing linear perspective drawings, etc. So your sketchbook is due this week. So again, remember 10 pages of sketches. Some of you, what you were doing is like taking one page from your drawing pad, your large drawing pad, and just giving me 10 small sketches. That's not what I'm looking for. I want them in that sketchbook. I want you to give me a page of sketches, so 10 pages of sketches. And again, like I reminded you last week, hopefully you started it during week 3 and did some then and are doing some now. And this week, our theme is the great outdoors. So I was just in California and it was a bit rainy up north, but hopefully the weather will be nice this week. It's supposed to be pretty rainy and spring-like here in Tennessee. We're supposed to have thunderstorms all day today. But if you can, get outside, draw those city skylines, the park, the trees in your backyard, houses on your street. These are all appropriate subjects for this week's journal. So look at angles, look at that linear perspective that we're going to be working on, look at architectural details, have fun exploring. And this is another place where you can really decide, where do I include details and where don't I? So if you take this sketch, for example, you can see that the roof is just drawn in really casually, and this is definitely a sketch, right? We have hints of brick and stone, but not completely textured. But your brain kind of fills in the rest, doesn't it? So these are the kind of things that I'm looking for. So I want you to keep pushing yourselves through these sketchbooks. I expect them to improve gradually. It's okay for them to be really loose and sketchy in quality, because that's what this is. But, really work on pushing yourself here. One last thing here in the journals, please embed your sketches instead of including 10 individual attachments. It's a lot for my computer to be downloading, and when there's almost 30 of you, to download all those individual images, and that's why I prefer that you embed them into your sketchbook journal, and that way it's actually easier for you to kind of go back and look through your virtual sketchbook as well. Okay, our copy assignment this week is about negative spaces. So we're doing a lot in our workbook this week. We're doing activities 14, 15, and 18. And these kind of build on each other a little bit. Number 14 is a little more organic. We're drawing leaves using negative spaces. And this is where, perceiving relationships is going to be important. So what you're doing in your reading. And 15, drawing a chair in negative space. This again, it's about perceiving those relationships between spaces. And then you're going to do an actual negative space drawing of an actual chair. So in exercise 15, you are copying the chair that is there in that assignment. You don't have to do something else. Just look from one page to another and copy that, right? This is the copy assignment. And then you're going to take what you've learned there and you're going to do your own chair in exercise 18. So any questions about that, don't hesitate to ask me. You know submission instructions by now. Create assignments. we're doing workbook exercise 20 and 21. So these are relatively quick ones. Don't use these kind of as loosening up your brain and practicing a little bit for what you're going to be doing, these 1-point linear perspective drawings. So you're sighting an open doorway and you're sighting a room corner. And then what we're going to do is we're going to learn a grid system. So if you download this PDF, this is this 1-point linear perspective drawing. So you can see that you have exercise 20, 21, and then you're going to complete a 1-point linear perspective drawing of a room in your home using this grid system. Don't forget that. Every once in a while I have a student who just completely skips this, and this is really the big part of this assignment. So if we download this PDF, it looks like this. It's just a slideshow, and I tried to be as detailed as I can to help you understand how to do these. So if you're someone who's a little more left brain and analytical, I really love using this grid system because it's a little foolproof and it really helps you with sighting spaces correctly. So you're going to set up your drawing paper. We want a 10 by 12 inch drawing space because you're going to set up a grid, and I'm going to walk through this just really quickly right now. So you can see that it's all 1 inch and 1 inch this way to get to 10 by 12. And so you have all these 1 inch boxes, this grid system. And then we're going to draw our horizon line. And this is where your eye level is. We're just going to put this at the 5-foot mark. We're just going to use this as the average human eye line. And then we want to draw our vanishing point. And this is the spot where all lines from your drawing are going to converge. And that's going to make sense as we move forward. So what you can see is that everything kind of converges onto this one spot. So if you were doing a room that was 12 feet wide, then if this was one corner, you'd go back to here and back to here. And this would give you that angle. Think of the railroad tracks or the road, right? Are you starting to see it? And then we can draw our back wall of the room. And from there, we can move on and draw walls. So you can see that now we have this grid, but we have the shape of a room. We can draw doorways this way. We can draw windows. We can give them depth. So now all of a sudden our room has depth to it. It's starting to feel a little more three-dimensional. And we can draw our furniture this way as well. So I'll let you walk through this. You are more than welcome if you want to not trace, but kind of if this feels difficult to you and you want to just copy this layout that I have here, you're more than welcome to do so. But what I do expect is that for you to embellish, to add a detail. And if we go back here into our instructions, you can see it tells you to set up your 10 by 12 inch drawing spaces, follow the instructions in the PDF, and your drawing must contain the following. So I'm right here in this section. I want 1 door, 1 window, 3 pieces of furniture, a minimum of 3 decorative elements. So this could be curtains, wall art, a lamp, flowers, etc. Be creative. Either a rug or wood floor. So keep that in mind when you're doing that grid as well, that if you're doing wood, that it needs to all line up the same with that vanishing point. And use your favorite drawing instruments from your kit to render this. Be sure, I will say that when you draw your grid at the very beginning of this, use a very lightweight lead pencil and draw your grid lines very, very lightly. So these grid lines, because you'll want to be able to erase them later. So I think I say this, make them very light because they will be erased at the end, okay? So be sure to label all your drawings with the assignment title as usual. This is a really fun one. Have, use that technique. And I think a lot of students are like, oh, this was so helpful. Now I understand how space works a little bit more. And even when you're starting to freehand, you're thinking of this grid-like system. So questions about this one, please let me know. One thing I want to bring up is some of you are still really late in submitting your work and not updating me. And some of you are really good about it, and I appreciate that. You guys, if you're struggling in the middle of the week with something, send me an email and let me know. Don't wait till after you submitted it to say in the notes, I didn't really know how to do this drawing. And then you feel a little defeated, and I feel a little frustrated because I'm here and I'm willing to help. So again, just reiterating, throughout the week, as you're doing these drawings, as you're scheduling them out, good time management, right? Don't hesitate to ask me specific questions. You can even photograph your work mid-work and send it to me and say, this is where I'm at and I'm stuck, help. and I'm totally willing to help. Okay, and we've got a critique this week as well. So we're critiquing our hands and our linear perspective drawings. So your hands from last week and your linear perspective from this week, and it's basically the same questions. And again, be constructive in your feedback, but make sure you find one of your peers and comment on that. I fixed these. They were in there as blogs, which I think someone else might have changed those because I had always had them as discussion boards. It's much easier to comment on each other's work. So it's in there as a discussion board, so it'll be much easier to find your peers' work and to just comment on it. Make sure you do that for full credit. So critiques, those shouldn't take you longer than 15 minutes tops. This is going to be your meat and potatoes this week. This is where you want to spend the most of your time. Your negative space drawings, again, are kind of, I would do this first because when you're starting to add in some of those decorative details, what you're doing here is going to come in value. And you have your sketchbook as well. So a lot going on, but a really fun week. Let me know if you have questions and be looking for feedback from your week 3 work by Friday of this week. Have a great week, everyone.